All right, I think pretty much all of us now know, if you're on YouTube at all, about Takomo Golf. Direct-to-consumer brand, makes some really impressive irons. I've reviewed a bunch of them. I keep them here in my fitting studio. Really good looking, really high quality golf irons, direct-to-consumer. Well, guess what? Takomo has just put out a driver, and they want some feedback on it, so I'm going to give it to them. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So, Takomo Golf, known now for a few years for making really high quality, really good looking irons. Well, guess what? They have now put out their first version of a driver. It's called the Ignis, I guess it's called Ignis, I-G-N-I-S, D1. And this is, by their own admission, a prototype driver that they are selling that you can buy at a very attractive price, try out, and then basically they want feedback from you to find out what you like about it, what you don't like about it, so they can improve it for the next generation or the next run of drivers that they make. So I've got one right here. We're going to hit it definitely, but first off, I'm just going to give you a quick tour of this driver. This is 460 cc's, has movable weight technology that you can change out both different weight amounts and different weight locations on the back. Has an adjustable hosel design as well, so you can change the loft and lie as you see fit. Let's talk about the crown. Looking down on it, obviously one of the most important things, how does it look behind the ball? This driver is really, it's got everything that I want in the look of a crown on a driver. That is to say, it doesn't have much of anything. It is very simple, it is very clean, it is very, I don't want to say plain, I mean it's not plain, but it is very undistracting, right? Basically just a simple matte gray finish. It's got a little bit of the carbon weave you can see because they use the carbon fiber on the crown here, but very minimal in any sort of design element to it. Notice, no logo, no sight line, no little pinstripes or words or letters or anything like that written anywhere on this head. Just a very simple, clean looking head, which I really appreciate. All right, next, let's look at the movable weights. This driver, like a lot of other drivers, has got basically 3 different locations where you can sort of influence the ball flight, a little more draw, a little more fade, or a little more neutral. So 3 different weight ports. It comes with different weight options that you can screw in. And something I also really like, because when this driver came, it's a little bit longer than I like in a driver. I really need my driver about 45 inches or just under. So I cut this one down a little, made it feel a little lighter. So I wanted to add some weight back to it. And look what you can actually do. You can fit 2 of the little weights back here at the same time. So I've got one in the draw setting, one in the fade setting, and basically just giving me a little bit extra total weight. And I can do it without having to add lead tape or anything like that. So 2 different weights, both fitting at the same time. I like that. Okay, next up, we've got the adjustable hosel design. And what you'll notice with this driver is it's got a cog. It's a cog style of adjustable hosel, which means the shaft doesn't have to rotate in the head in order to make the changes. You just have to move the little cog. So the shaft orientation can stay the same regardless of what you do with the little cog. So I really like that. The other thing I really like about this design is, in so many cases, when you have a cog style adapter, it gets really thick and chunky and bulky looking, which I can't stand personally when you have a really thick looking hosel as it relates to the overall proportions of the driver. This one I feel like is pretty subdued. They keep it pretty short so you don't necessarily notice how thick this hosel is because of that cog. And again, I really like that personally because I don't like a big chunky looking adapter. So I really like this cog design. I really like how sleek it looks overall compared to other cog style drivers. The only thing I really don't like about it is the fact that this cog just can come right off. There's no little lip or anything to hold the cog on there when you take the club apart. So just something to be aware of when you take the club apart to make an adjustment, this little cog can just fall on the ground. The sole, I would say, it's a good looking sole of a driver. I don't really care what the sole of a driver looks like because you never see it other than taking it out of the bag. So what I do care about is how the driver actually sits on the ground because of that sole. And with this driver really sits very, very, very square. Now, I know I've been doing this a long time, and I know there are going to be certain golfers who, if they see a driver that sits in any way closed, even to the slightest amount, they're not going to want to have anything to do with it. And to be completely honest, this driver, to my eye, does sit a fraction. I'm talking a very, very small amount, but it does sit, I feel like, slightly closed, at least if you're the kind of golfer who's looking and trying to make sure a driver doesn't look that way, you're going to pick up on it maybe. And this one does have just a tiny bit of face closure to it. You get a few different Project X hazardous options as far as shaft goes. I've got it here today with the hazardous RDX Blue, which is a shaft I actually really like. So good shaft, 60 grams, stiff shaft. This is not the actual grip that comes on this club. Again, I cut this club down to make it more appropriate for me, so I just put a pure grip on here that I can take on and off. But usually, I think it comes with a lambkin cross line, just so you know that. This is not what it usually comes with. Now, I'll say it again, setting this club up behind the ball, it looks really good. I do, once again, really like the very simple, very unadorned top of this driver. The crown, just matte gray, no lines, no logos, no writing, just the head. Very classic shape to it. Really like the look. Felt pretty good. Tugged it just a little bit. Let's see what we got there as far as the numbers. All those numbers right there look pretty good. Again, my club path is always going to be a little bit out to in, so we'd expect to see it start a little bit to the left of the line. 1.44 efficiency off of 107 club head speed gave me 153 ball speed. Launch angle at 11 degrees, spin 2300, 263 carry, and 288 total. I would take that pretty much every day of the week. Felt like I left it a little open that time. Let's see what we got out of that one. That one's probably going to be a little spinny. I definitely left the face a little more open. Yeah, backspin went up a little bit. Club head speed went down. Still good ball speed off of it, 150 mile an hour, just a little bit too spinny on that one. Again, the face just a little bit open. Now I will say the sound on it, it's a little bit on the louder side, but it's not crazy loud. It's not obnoxious loud. It's just maybe a touch louder than some other drivers out there, but it's not far off. And that is hitting it in here. If you were out on the course, probably would be pretty inconspicuous overall, I'd say. That one I kind of fell off of. We'll see what we get out of that. Yeah, just didn't hit it great, but that was hit hard, just pulled a little bit again. Let's see what we got there. Yeah, good efficiency again, 153 ball speed, 2300 backspin, launch angle at 11 degree, another one. Just kind of had the face just a little bit closed. Thus far, pretty good. And I will say, I'm probably the best person you could ever watch do driver reviews because my driver game is incredibly shaky. So, you know, whatever I get out of it, I feel like you'll probably get better. That was a terrible swing. All right, have to say overall, pretty darn impressed with this Takomo driver. Ball speed, a little over 151, launch angle at 11, 2800 backspin, getting about 252 carry average and 274 on the total distance average. So again, for me, those numbers, I mean, that's basically as much as I really ever hope to get out of a driver. So really like the look of this driver. Setting down behind the ball looks really good, really clean, sits nicely on the ground. The sound on it, maybe just a fraction loud, but again, if you were outside and not in the studio, I think you wouldn't even really notice that sound. So for the first go of it, from Takomo to put out a driver, I don't have a whole lot of bad things to say about it. I think it is a really solid golf club. And again, for me, with my inconsistencies in my driver, gave me about as good a numbers as I ever expect to get. So there you go. All right, so if you're looking for a new driver, you want to try something a little bit different, something that definitely not everyone else is going to have out there on the course, this Takomo driver really checks a lot of boxes. Looks good, feels good, sound is pretty good, performance as good as I would expect from any big name driver, and price pretty darn good too. So Takomo, you already knew they made really good irons. Well, it turns out, looks like they may know how to make a driver too. So definitely something to check out, something you may want to consider picking up. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when I post new videos, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.